Hello everyone. Welcome to our week 7 of quarter 2. Once again, I am teacher Tony. And our lesson for today is on multimodal and its elements. Our objectives are the following. Number 1, identify the elements of multimodals. Number 2, transcode emojis into plain text or word. And number 3, create instructional video or script for presentation using animated images. So before we start our discussion of the lesson, let's have first this activity. It is entitled Name That Emoji. In this activity, you will be given emojis. You just have to select based from the choices what does the emoji that is presented mean. Alright, let's have this first emoji. So what does this emoji mean? Is it happy, shocked, or sweet? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the correct answer is shocked. Let's have the second one. So what is this emoji? Crying, lonely, or sad? 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. What's your answer? Of course, it is crying. Communication is not only relaying messages through voice and letters. It does not limit its purpose to written and verbal text. Communication uses multimodals. When technology came into this world, different modes of communication came to existence. They are called multimodal. Modes refer to the processes that we use whenever we communicate. Modes include written language, spoken language, and patterns of meaning that are visual, audio, gestural, tactile, and spatial. Many texts are multimodal, where meaning is communicated through combinations of 2 or more modes at a time. Multimodal text can be in the form of a text, live, or digital. We'll take this one by one later. Moreover, it conveys meaning through varying combinations of visual or still images, written language, and spatial modes. Multimodal texts include picture books, textbooks, graphic novels, comics, and posters. As I have mentioned a while back, multimodal text can be in a form of text, live, or digital. So let's have digital. Digital multimodal text, such as a film, animation, slideshows, e-posters, digital stories, and web pages, convey meaning through combinations of written and spoken language, visual, still and moving image, audio, gestural, and spatial modes. Live multimodal text, for example, dance, performance, and oral storytelling, convey meaning through combinations of modes such as gestural, spatial, spoken language, and audio. In visual text, for example, representation of people, objects, and places can be conveyed using choices of visual semiotic resources such as lines, shapes, sizes, and symbols. While written language would convey meaning through sentences, using noun groups and adjectives which are written or typed on a paper or a screen. There are 5 multimodal elements. The first one is linguistic, the second is visual, the third is audio or oral, the fourth is gestural, and the fifth one is spatial. So let us take the first one, which is linguistic element, or we call it also as the alphabetic element. This includes vocabulary, structure, grammar of oral or written language. The linguistic mode refers to written or spoken words. The mode includes word choice, the delivery of written or spoken text, the organization of words into sentences and paragraphs, and the development of coherence of words and ideas. Linguistic is not always the most important mode. This depends on the other modes at play in the text, the type of text, and other factors. Linguistic is probably the most widely used mode because it can be both read and heard on both paper or audio. The linguistic mode is the best way to express details and lists. The next one is the visual element. So visual element includes color, vectors, viewpoint and still, and moving images. The visual mode refers to the images and characters that people see. It is sometimes possible to find compositions that almost, if not completely, rely on a single mode. For instance, the no gun symbol has no alphabetic text and no sound. Like many signs, it relies for its meaning on visual information. However, we might be able to say that the sign uses the spatial mode as well, since the gun appears behind the red bar that signals no or not allowed. So while the visual dominates its signs, even this composition is not purely visual. The next element is audio or oral. This includes volume, pitch, rhythm of music, and sound effects. The oral mode is focused on sound, including but not limited to music, sound effects, ambient noises, silence, tone of voice and spoken language, volume of sound, emphasis, and accent. An example of an oral mode, one that depends almost exclusively on sound, might be the recording of a public speech that was delivered orally to a live audience, such as President Rodrigo Roa Duterte's State of the Nation Address of 2020. This speech exemplifies the oral mode, delivered before radio and recorded. A speech like this one represents one of the early examples of hearing a speech without being in the same time and place as the speaker. The next element is gestural. This includes movement, facial expression, and body language. The gestural mode refers to the way movement is interpreted. Facial expressions, hand gestures, body language, and interaction between people are all gestural modes. This has always been important in face-to-face conversations and in theater, but it has become more apparent on the web lately with the wide use of YouTube and other video players. The gestural mode works with linguistic, visual, oral, and sometimes even spatial modes in order to create more detail and convey it better to the consumer. Next element is spatial. This includes proximity and direction. The spatial mode, as the name implies, refers to the arrangement of elements in space. It involves the organization of items and the physical closeness between people and objects. A good example of the spatial mode might be the different ways in which chairs and desks are arranged in a classroom. Alright, so let's have a recap of what we have taken for today. Modes are the processes we observe or use in communication. Combining modals in creating a text is called multimodal text, which can be delivered in text, live, and digital. There are 5 multimodal elements. They are visual, aural, linguistic, gestural, and spatial. Any combination of the modes may be involved in responding to or composing print, sound, visual, or multimedia text. Alright, so let's have a short assessment. Will you please get a piece of paper and a pen? You only have to write the letter of your answer. Are you ready? Let's go! Let's have number 1. What is the other term for pictures? A. Caricature, B. Illustration, C. Photography, D. Still image. Write your answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the correct answer is letter D. Still image. Let's have number 2. There are 5 elements of multimodal. Which element does facial expression belong? Is it A. Oral, B. Gestural, C. Linguistic, D. Visual? Write your answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the correct answer is B. Gestural. Let's have number 3. Colors, images, and vector are important in conveying meaning. Under which element do they belong? A. Gestural, B. Linguistic, C. Spatial, D. Visual. Write your answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the correct answer is D. Visual. Number 4. Emoji contribute in interpreting messages. Which phrase best interprets this image? Is it A. Blow the time, B. Happy clock, C. Party time, D. Blow hours? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, write your answer. And the correct answer is letter C. Party time. And now let's have the last item, number 5. Which greetings should not be used when writing an application to a manager who happens to be your best friend? Is it A. blessed day to you, B. Greetings, C. Good day, D. What's up, man? Write your answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the correct answer is, of course, letter D. What's up, man? You should always be formal, even the manager is your best friend. Did you get all the items correctly? If yes, then very good. If no, well, you do better next time. If you want to know more about our lesson, please refer to these resources. So this is all for today. Goodbye and have a nice day. Stay safe always.